it's Karl. Welcome back to another one. And we previously took a look at my Mac desk setup, which was obviously very heavy into the Apple ecosystem. 16-inch MacBook Pro with the Pro Display XDR, iPhone, Apple Watch, all that shebang. But I do give some love over to the PC side, mostly for streaming, for gaming. Obviously, PC gaming is the way to go. And yeah, just thought I would show off kind of what is behind me now in this desk setup. We'll obviously start off first with a desk, and I kind of went for a dark theme on PC side, not saying Apple is the light side, PC is the dark side, but if yeah, you want to go that route, I did keep things on the darker end. So mostly for the desk and the accessories, it's all around the darker oak wood finishes. So the desk itself is actually from a company called Artifox. A little correction, it is all made out of walnut wood. I guess walnut and oak are pretty similar, but it is a smaller desk compared to yeah, the one that I'm recording on right now, or my previous Mac setup one. And I do like smaller desks because they aren't as wide, they actually fit better into different places. And what I do love about Artifox, they have desks built specifically for setups, or for, I guess, PC setups. They've got great accessories like the cable management mesh on the back, which I still struggle with. We'll get to that in a second. And they do have other accessories like a headphone hook on the front, a built-in channel for cable management in the back, and they are on the pricier side for desks, especially when you compare that to stuff from IKEA. And I'd only recommend buying desks like this, either this one or say this white one from Rope Concepts, if you can afford to spend that extra money. Desks are an area where you can save a lot going the IKEA route, and it's either a good or a bad thing. I wouldn't say IKEA desks are the best, but for the money, you honestly can't beat them. But if you want something a bit more premium, something a bit more, yeah, lush, something a bit more solid, made out of actual wood, this one from Artifox is one of my go-to recommendations. The rest of the walnut wood is matched with a couple accessories from GroveMade. So I do have the monitor riser. It is quite large. I like it because you can actually run a dual monitor setup if you want. It just helps keep the monitor off the table and helps you with that mythical cable management, which I still have a 0 of. You can see up top also 2 wall shelves, also GroveMade, also in walnut wood. So I almost have a dark mode theme or a walnut wood theme for this PC setup. And up there, I just have a couple accessories. Right now, I do have my Xbox or PlayStation 5, solely for aesthetic reasons, maybe? I am a pretty big Xbox guy, but now Microsoft has pretty much merged Xbox and Windows gaming together. So you get the same experience on both, and you usually get better frame rates over on PC, depending on your build. So yeah, sadly collecting a bit of dust, my Xbox Series X. Also a huge fan of Lego. I think anyone that's watched any of my videos know that they feature in all of my B-roll, all of my sets. So I do have an AT-AT over there and the Porsche Turbo. Currently unrelated though, we have the Starship Destroyer Ultimate Collectors Series. I also have the AT-AT UCS on deck. I'm actually staring at it right off camera. That is slated to be built sometime. I just need to find an area to display it. I will build you. It will probably take me close to 2 months. I guess that's a different build for a different day. But anyways, that's the main theme of the desk. So walnut wood with the dark accents or dark finishes. The main components tech-wise of this are the PC as well as monitor. The monitor first, this is actually the newest edition. This is the Huawei MateView GT. This is actually Huawei's first venture or first time into the gaming monitor space. I know they're usually known for their phones, for their laptops, for some of their other displays, but into the gaming theme, I don't think they did too bad. So this is a ultra wide monitor, 34 inches with a resolution 3440 by 1440p. It's got a 165 hertz refresh rate, and I do have that paired with an RTX 3080, which we'll get to in a second on the gaming, or I guess PC side. But for overall gaming experiences, really curved monitors, that immersive feel are great for games like racing games. I play a ton of Formula 1 on this. Racing around in cockpit view is usually my favorite to kind of see or get the extra experience of the side peripherals. Since I'm based in Canada, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is usually the place that I'm racing in, and hopefully F1 does come back to Canada next year, I know that we've missed the Canada track, I think the last 2 years in a row, which has been really unfortunate, but it gives me just my little F1 fix until we get the real thing. Obviously, it's not a competitive base monitor, as you'd want something smaller so you're not looking from side to side, but even games, first-person shooters like Halo, seems super immersive. It's great to look at. Pretty casual Warzone player, also the game looks great. I would say maybe for RTS games, I do scale it down, so I've been playing Age of Empires, of course, StarCraft 2. That's where I use the typical 16:9 aspect ratio just to keep things a bit slimmer, as RTS games typically you want to have in just one kind of view. In terms of overall color and contrast ratios, it's great if you're watching any sort of content, whether that's on YouTube, Netflix. Most of the content that you watch looks great. It does have 100% of the sRGB color spectrum and around 90% of P3. It's got cool little gamer assist features built into the menu, so you can actually add little crosshairs just to help you out in that first-person shooter game that you're running, or you can even boost shadows to see people that are hidden in shadows. Typically not as big of a problem now in Warzone, but I remember in Verdansk with the rose skin, almost impossible to see them creeping in shadows, so you can always boost that up to give you just a bit of an extra hand against real tryhards, which is everyone in Warzone, sadly. Some things that I still think that they can improve on, even though this is their first gen, and I still think they did a great job. The overall bezels, they're not the thinnest we've seen, especially the bottom chin, which does have a bit of Huawei branding, but that's usually pretty typical. On the bottom, instead of having a typical V stand, we actually have a built-in speaker. It's actually a pretty decent addition if you don't use external speakers or have an extra headset. It is probably the best built-in speakers that I've kind of heard on a monitor, as they are typically the largest. You can control audio by sliding your finger across, and you can actually change the little LED light to the color preference of your choice. I wouldn't say it's a must-have, and you can actually purchase the monitor without the speaker at no extra cost, so you can have the usual monitor stand, but if it were up to me, just spec it with the speaker, and if you want, you don't have to use it. You can always use, like I said, an extra set of cans if you want, if you have those lying around. It does have a built-in mic, which is once again just okay, and typically I'd still recommend using a USB plug-and-play mic, so we'll get to that in the accessories, and I am rocking just a Yeti X. And overall, yeah, I think Huawei smashed it with their first gaming monitor. Definitely something to keep an eye out when they make improvements for V2, but I do like the design. It's simple, minimal, has a decent high refresh rate, and yeah, doesn't necessarily break the bank. So that's the monitor side. And for the PC, which you actually see it below my desk, sometimes I have it up top if I want to show off some of the LED lights, we've gone for the pre-built Aorus Model X. And I know that there is a bit of a mixed camp on building your own versus pre-built PCs, and typically if you build out every single component, you can save definitely a bit of money, but for someone like myself who doesn't have all of that time to tinker around with parts, to order separate things, to actually build out a PC, I know it doesn't take the longest time. I just wanted something pre-built into one package, shipped, delivered, works out of the box, and that's exactly what the Model X does. So it does ship with a RTX 3080, like I mentioned, probably the still flagship standard of graphics card right now, and if you can snag one at retail, I know that chip shortages, I know that graphics cards in general are overinflated in price. The 3080 for the money is still the best bang for your buck. I know that you can get a 3090, a Founders Edition. Those are just going for so much more, and the extra gains that you're getting aren't really worth it. And with this graphics card, I'm easily maxing out the max refresh rate over on the monitor. I've even paired this with the Alienware 25 and pushed up to 360 frames. Obviously, that's a 1080p monitor, but if you want to even go 4K 120, 4K 240, this card, as long as you can grab one for the next couple years, should definitely handle any AAA title that you throw at it. It's also got 32 gigs of RAM, a terabyte SSD to save all of my stream files. It's just got really great I/O ports, both on the front and the back. Literally all my accessories can plug into this, and it's just become my new PC hub. So yeah, I've been super happy with it. It comes with a solid built-in case. Obviously, I've changed all of my RGB lights just solely to orange, and overall, it's just been a great experience. I know that I've built my own PCs in the past, they just haven't been this simple, and if you want something that works out of the box with the best specs, with a decent case, with a decent build, yeah, the Aorus Model X is just being solid. And honestly, for the accessories, I've kept them pretty minimal and haven't actually really upgraded, because I find accessories, once you find something good, they don't really change much year to year. The overall tech in a mechanical keyboard is pretty much identical every year, unless you want a different color, unless you want some extra lights. So I am rocking the G915, and for the mouse, G903. Both are wireless, and I know that's not the optimal experience, but just because I want to keep my desktop a bit free of cables, you can see I do struggle with cable management. That's actually one thing I would say that needs to be improved with the monitor. You do have I/O for DisplayPort, 2 USB-C. One of those is to actually provide power, and 2 HDMI. There's no real cable management with that, so the cables just kind of snake down, and you can actually see them on camera here, how ugly they look. But like I said, cable management is not my strength. That's why I've gone wireless for my accessories. I do have my Yeti X microphone, which I think is pretty much industry standard. Most people use them. It's around $100, a great little plug and play mic on an Elgato boom arm, which actually is really good. It articulates really well. And what I actually do love about it that other microphones don't have is this little counterweight. Because this microphone is a bit on the lighter side, you do need this extra weight. Otherwise, the boom arm just kind of stays up like that. So yeah, this little guy is an awesome little addition. If I do end up rocking some console, I typically just plug them in into the front USB port, so either Xbox or PlayStation, whichever my poison is for the day. And if I am streaming, which I'm actually about to hop on a stream in 9 minutes with Fossil and Razer for one of their smartwatches, I'll grab it. I'm gonna talk about this guy in a sec. This is usually the setup. So I have my Sony a7S III on the side. That's just running through an HDMI cable into a little Magic Link dongle right into the back. Of course, that guy's plugged in so it can charge up, and then I just run my stream off of OBS. But if you want a bit more in-depth how I stream, if you want to see me stream, even though I do suck at gaming, but I did used to stream maybe a year and a half ago. Not as much these days. I do game just, I guess, a bit more for casualness and just for my own enjoyment. But yeah, I guess that is a bit of a convo for a different video. Maybe if you want to see me, just let me know on social. I can rock a couple games with some of you guys. But anyways, this is my PC setup. I will label this as gaming, as that's mostly what I do over on my PC side. So now we have both my Mac setup and my PC setup / streaming setup. So now you guys know. That's what the setups are looking like for 2022. And as we kind of continue the year, I'm sure I'll make new additions, new upgrades. Probably the first thing is some of my accessories and peripherals, but hope you guys enjoyed this vid. And yeah, I'll catch the rest of you in one of my next ones. Peace.